we're going to try to do this. We're going to try to do this and see what happens. Hey, Chris Courtney here, new Pragmatic. It is so good to be back. Tuesday. Got a, it's a lighter load, but there's some interesting questions that have been asked, and I'm not, we're going to be kind of off-roading a bit today because there are things that have been asked that I hadn't been asked before. So that's just how this goes sometimes. Welcome to the feedback loop, folks. Rebecca's in here. Kara's in here. We're going to start with Kara because Kara is more on the. She's not off-roading. She's actually working through a dedicated exercise related to her prototyping, and she's made some adjustments to it. So I'm super excited to see that. Whereas Rebecca's in WordPress and trying to integrate different elements and plugins together, and that may take us into a few different twists and turns. I think there's an ecosystem of 60,000 different WordPress plugins that you can use together, and some of them work well together. Others do not. We found out over the weekend, Elementor and Timetable, for instance, do not play well together. So I sent her off on a different journey, and she's dutifully trying to sort those things out. The interesting thing is there are when you have 60,000 different plugins, the likelihood you're going to try a combination that hasn't been tried before or hasn't at least been distilled down in an easy-to-consume tutorial, very high. So with that said, we're going to be trying to help Rebecca get this thing out of the ditch a little bit. But with all that aside, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I would like to make my way over here to Kara's project here. We've got our prototype, and she said that something she finally generated. There's something slowing her system down. I'd like to make sure I address everything from round one, and we do have our mentor call coming up later, so that's good. I am interested to see whether there is a problem here. It also looks like CouchBot has fired. Thank goodness CouchBot is back. We've had problems with CouchBot over the last couple of days, so it was a little concerning. CouchBot had me distracted for a second, but this appears to have loaded fine. I've got your fresh market, and again, this is a really clean wireframe, by the way. It really showed, and I'm looking to see no, actually we've worked through Eve's. I'm waiting to see Eve's and Luigi's case studies. So Eve, Luigi, I'm looking for your case studies because I have a certificate for you. Anyway, fresh market menus, plans, gift cards, login, sign up, prepared meals from our kitchen to yours. Wow, okay, you've got a lot here that's interconnected. That's great. I can see right away, even though I'm not in the guts of the back of this, I can see that you're using this as your primary starting point, and that's a really key thing that anybody else who's watching this, you should always have one frame of your Figma prototype acting as the base for everything. And it loaded fine for me, Kara. So there was a couple of things that I was going to say when you said it was loading slow. One thing I've noticed is that Figma has been making updates recently. There was a period last week where Figma just didn't load for like 10 minutes on like a Tuesday morning. Now I know today's Tuesday morning, but I just pulled that out of the air. But I could go back and find what particular morning it was. But everybody was kind of freaked out for a second, and Figma was up, back and running. I think they just did a random update that like basically took it down. But that's the nature of working with the web-based tool, and anything that's web-based that's not running on your local machine is going to be prone to that. So let's hop in here and see what we've got. So you've got a few different options there. We've got your customer, and yeah, so this is pretty clean. I'm going to go back to your journal because you've been so nice to actually include the actual specific things you're wanting me to do. And again, it's really great to point out that this is all going back to your story mapping. So it's not like you decided just on a whim that these were the 5 things that you were going to try to test. You've been projecting to this point for a while. So, before your wireframe, before your prototype, before you started writing content for this, you said these are the things I want to see if I can do. So show me how you can try a sample. Let's start there. So it's fresh market menus, plans, gift cards, login, sign up, and keep in mind everybody they start in the upper left. It's just why logos tend to live there, and then they work across. I'm going to. Okay, so I think we were trying a sample. So this says try a sample. I don't think I really need to go any further. So I'm going to say try a sample. Try a sample. Select from our top rated customer faves. Simply fill out the form below to get started, and you've got a form. And this is the thing that I want to jump into because it does this jump up and down thing. I want to see if I can. I want to investigate whether I can get Figma to hold position between frames, because that jump down thing is I'm going to be certain you're going to have people going, why does it keep jumping down? I hate this interaction. And they should. They should, frankly. But this otherwise works as I would want to get it to work. And then I'm guessing this is get sample. Okay, I'm back to the homepage. That flow, aside from the bouncy thing, that flow works well. I am really interested in, I just want to Google that real quick. So, preserve position between frames in Figma. I figured it was scrolling overflow. So Figma has, so see, when I think of scrolling overflow, I'm thinking about this, and like I'm thinking it's saying like that. See that bottom button? It's like saying, okay, you're gonna stick to the bottom, but that's not exactly my concern. Although I do love the fact that you can horizontal scroll here, and then that's just the bounds of the frame. That's interesting. That's an interesting aspect that I hadn't considered. There's ways to hack this. I'm going to hack for a second because I want to test this out just a bit. So I'm going to come back to your journal. So there's a way to make this work, and it is to literally move the content up in the frame. So that's one way that we could do it. I'm not completely certain that this is the way, but I am absolutely certain that this would work. So let's zoom out here a bit. Look at Kara go nut. Kara's going off. Oh man, Kara's going off. This is a crazy prototype. All right, so let's just take this, and I'm going to turn the prototype off for a second so we can see. But this is where you start, okay? And you've scrolled down to this position. So when that happens, my guess is if I were to come over to this screen, these elements would be like here, right? And then yeah, there we go. And then when I come over here, I basically just want to do the same exact thing. And it's roughly there. I'll put it to the background. And then you continue, but I want to see what happens here. I just want to see if that hacks through the issue. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna. It's just a couple more screens. Let's just do the whole thing. So here, you've chosen the meal. Now you've got your date, and now you've got the form, right? So I'm not completely certain that like this is like part of me is like that should line up that way, because here you're wanting them to scroll the form in the view. Guessing. So maybe the form is like up here. That was weird. Oh, I totally screwed that up because it's no longer part of the frame. So got to be careful here. So there's that, and now I just want to grab this part. I want to just kind of make it roughly align. Okay. So now let's come over. Let's save that. Let's come over and look at let's go through this again. It should have updated. So here we're going to scroll down. I'll say profile. All right. See? And then I'm going to say that bounced. It's I need to predict where they're going to be. But this is a lot. Yeah. That's a lot smoother. So what I would suggest doing is kind of align this to where there is no bounce between screens. You know, just kind of assume that, okay, they're probably going to scroll and they're going to click. And when they do that, like position the next one at that spot. I'm going to undo this because I know that there are some imperfections about what I did. And you've got a really clean wireframe here, so I don't want to screw that up. But I do think that adjusting the scroll position would be smart. Is there a better way to do it? Perhaps. And that's something that I think we need to look at. But it's something that has bugged me for a while, not just with this one. Okay? This, we can prototype all these scroll positions, but I want to make sure that we're preserving the position as we go through, because that's what would happen in a form. In a form, you wouldn't have all these screens. You would just have a screen, and you would scroll, and you would do this, and take you to the next page, and whatever. But that's something that I really think is important to get a handle on. But that so far so good on the actual exercise itself. Yeah, so here we are. We're back over here. Let's come back and look at your doc. I believe I have this open in a couple of places now. So sign up includes setting up an account and placing first order. Okay. So how do I sign up? Well, I'm gonna guess I hit sign up, and I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna say set up account, and okay, so I'll do this, and it's the same as my delivery address. Okay, awesome. Payment method. See that bounce thing happen? Here it wasn't a big deal because you could see the headers, but here it bounces you back down. So that's something that you want to. I'd say you want to make sure that you don't have that happening a lot in your prototype. So I want dinner, and I want this many meals. This is another situation where, kind of predict how far down they're going to scroll. So I can set up all of that. My delivery day is Monday. My frequency per week is 4. That's interesting. Frequency per week is 4, but I've got 1 delivery day. So that may be something in the messaging, because frequency per week to me seems like how many days per week am I going to get a meal, and servings per meal, meals per week. Maybe it's meals per week, and then delivery day. So, just something to think about there. But meals per week could be, I'm asking for 2 servings. So does that mean 8 meals? Yeah, there's some language in there. The best thing to do though is to put it in front of people and see if they actually are thrown off by it. So much of this is language, and your users will let you know if they are confuzzled by anything. So let's select the plan. I must have missed something. I think got a broken something. Let's see. So I signed up. I created an account. I explored plans. And let's see. Does this? Dead ends. So that one needs to be adjusted. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to go down or if I'm supposed to go back home. So I'm not going to try to fix that link, but I would say that right now explore plans is dead ending. And I understand how frustrating that can be, because if you look at this, people, give Kara many props. This is a bonkers, just bonkers prototype. She's done so much work here. But that is literally, I bet you it's the only page. It's the only page where we don't have an escape hatch. Yeah, she's got an escape hatch on everything else. So the question I have is, how? I see an explore plans here. How did we end up on explore plans here, and it's on an island? I don't know necessarily why there is a explore plans down here, but it appears that this one, where does this one go? This one goes, just following that line all the way up, it goes right here to the sign up page. Is that where it's supposed to go? Don't know. But a little hiccup, okay? Not a huge thing, just a little one. This is the sample. Yeah, so we'll go back over to Fresh Market. All right, let's try another one, Kara, while we're here. Just finding my way back. Show me how you can log in. Okay, that should be pretty easy. Log in. Doop. Yeah, so that's smart, because now I'm logged in, and she's taken into account the changed state. So the navigation up here has changed. I can go to my account, I can go to log in, I can manage my orders. So it's recognizing me as a user, and this is something that a lot of people fail to do in their prototypes. They fail to adjust the language to reflect the fact that somebody signed in. If I'm signed in, you're not selling me. It's like a lot of people, if you use social media, you never see the front of Twitter. Like, you go into Twitter or you go into Facebook, you never see the actual homepage. You just go in and you sign in. You skip all that. But if you're signing up for the first time, you have an entirely different experience with it, because you have no account. So this is taking into account the fact that, hey, you already have an account. I need to give you a different experience. So that's smart. Let's see here. View, edit, skip orders. That's a great question, because you did not necessarily say, how do you manage your orders, which would be too leading. Okay, so tell me how you would view an order or skip an order. And that may send some people on a wild goose chase for view and skip. But what you're trying to see is, can people make the logical jump that if I ask them to view an order or skip an order, they can come up with manage. Is manage the right word? Because you need words that are malleable enough to work in many contexts, and manage is a great word for view, skip, adjust, things like that. You're managing something. So let's go ahead and manage orders. This is really nice. This is a much better toggle interface than what you had before. As I remember last time you had like a segmented controller. This feels so much more mature than your first iterations of this. To just be completely honest with you, it's actually come a long way, and I love everything's so clean. Everything's so clean. Yes, this is what I like to see. All right, so I'm going to I guess I'll edit, and I guess I'll skip this one, and this order has been skipped. Gosh, and you've got the language. Yes. The language is on point. It's very clear what's happening. You're giving feedback. This is really nice. Wasn't but a week ago you were dumping people off at the end saying, okay, you're good. And now, like, these have really taken a big leap forward, Kara. So I'm going to update my account now, and yeah, and you've been smart to link directly from here, so I don't have to I could go back out to Fresh Market and I could hit account from here, but you've been smart enough to accommodate me in either spot. So that's really awesome. I'm so distracted. Like, how can I update the plan? And here's my account, delivery billing. I'm a little messy there, but I mean, it's minor. The rest of it's so clean. I will say that the typography feels like it. You're trying to fill it out a bit, so your typography may come down a bit in size, but that's not a huge deal. Plan. Hey, there it is. And this gives us an idea. You'll probably give this some nuance as time goes on. Let's go ahead and edit it. I'm going to say I'm going to edit the meal, and I'm going to do this, and now I understand where, because this is going to take me to, yeah, okay, got it. So you have two different plan versions. One is if you're logged in, the other one is if you're logged out. The logged in one is busted. It does not link out to where it needs to go next, but this one does. So aside from that Kara, I really feel like this is pretty damn strong. Kudos on the level of detail that you've put in to the to the prototype. Um, a couple of minor adjustments. Um, I am going to investigate. I know we've got a call later today, so I'm going to investigate that save position as you tap through a form. I'm certain somebody has tackled that. I know a hacky way to make it work. But I would really love it if Figma had a, like, can I preserve the location of where I'm clicking to where I'm going? Will it hold, or do I have to manually move that? It seems weird that I would have to manually move that, but that may be where it is at the moment, because I can't in my mind think about, well, where would that control exist? I actually I can think about I think I know where it might exist, but like, I'm just gonna click here. So I've got this. It says preserve scroll position here. Could it be? Could it be? Let's just check. Let's just check. I mean, golly gee. Let's log out. Let's go to Fresh Market. Let's log out. Okay. So I can't do it quite that way, but I can do it this way. Okay. So I've logged out. I'm going to try a sample. And I'll do this, and it's going to bounce. I'll do this, and it's going to bounce. I'll do this, and it's going to bounce. I'll do that, and it bounced. So where did I preserve? What did I preserve? Oh, create a plan. Okay. I preserved create a plan. Why don't we just come up here and do this real quick? Preserve scroll. Preserve scroll. Preserve scroll. Preserve scroll. Again, I'm just curious. Okay. Try a sample. Yeah. Oh. Oh, I know what I did. I only preserved scroll on the meat part. So here, it's preserve scroll. If I hit meat, it's going to preserve. Yeah. 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 Okay, we figured it out. I knew they had to have figured that out. You don't have to do the hacky thing. God, Chris, what are you thinking? We learned together, right? So preserve scroll position. OMG. That should have been in the video. All right. So you've got a couple of things to adjust. I would use preserve scroll position all the way through. But more importantly, that broken link, to fix that. And yeah, I think you're well on your way. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that one is donezo. Yeah, and that's just me making lots of, man, I make lots of I make lots of slides. All right, let's come on over here and take a look at Rebecca. Oh, well, I was already here. So I'm going to close these, close that, close that, close that. Okay. This is adding a calendar to Elementor. And what we ran into yesterday with Elementor was the fact that Rebecca had a calendar built in what's called the Timetable. And Timetable exists on a page. And I can actually show you CrossFit home Timetable. So Timetable, it'll probably take a second to load, but Timetable exists over here as its own page, but because the header for this is built in Elementor, and I've got a lot of tabs open, so it's loading a little slowly. But let's see here. This header here is built in Elementor. Elementor wants to take over the page to put any assets on it, and that doesn't work well with this, which is Timetable. Timetable, it's fine, but ultimately the big issue with Timetable is that it doesn't want to cede control to Elementor. And anytime you put Elementor on this page, it blows Timetable away, because Timetable is meant to work with the classic WordPress editor, and Elementor is meant to replace the classic WordPress editor. And this is something that, until it, the client's goal was to get their timeline or a timetable onto a WordPress page. Done, it just doesn't work with the rest of the tooling that has been implemented. Had Elementor not been used, and this is using Elementor. Had Elementor not been used, you can style this. You can style this with CSS inside of WordPress, and you basically do that over here in Customize, and that will bring up the additional CSS box where you dump a lot of CSS into the file, and that's fine, but it doesn't work. So it doesn't work in the instance that we have here. So Rebecca's next stab at this, next foot forward, is to get the calendar into a spot on the homepage. And that can happen according, if we're going to follow, also I found a read more widget, Rebecca, so we'll talk about that in a second. But you've got to follow these steps. And essentially what's important to realize is I don't even want to jump into the actual doing of the thing until we understand exactly what's happening. So we're going to open Google Calendar, and we're going to get there's a embed code. Get the code to embed it in your website. That's very vague for somebody. That instruction is very vague. You've got to first know, okay, so where is the embed code for Google Calendar? Right off the top of my head, I don't know. I'll have to investigate it because I haven't embedded a Google Calendar in anything in a while. In the top right, click Settings, and then click Settings. And then on the left side of the screen, click the name of the calendar you want to embed. So this is walking you through what to do inside of Google Calendar. In integrate this calendar section, copy the iframe code displayed. Choose your options, then copy the HTML code displayed. Make sure your embedded calendar is set to public. Inside Elementor, drag the HTML widget, paste the embed code of the calendar. Congratulations, you've now added a calendar into Elementor. Now, this comes with a wave of caveats. One, I don't necessarily know what that calendar is going to look like. Is it just going to be like a really shrunk down Google Calendar? Is it responsive, or is there space? There's all sorts of questions related to this. But when you go to the Elementor site and you say, I need to add a calendar, Elementor is basically saying, you can use Google, you can embed it, you can use an iframe, and good luck. Now, that said, there are other options. This is the option that we have in front of us. Philosophically, I like this option. And here's why. You can tell a client, hey, just keep your Google Calendar up to date, and it will automatically update on the site. From that perspective, the fact that they don't have to go in and start updating WordPress or Elementor, or they don't have to touch anything. All they have to do is keep their Google Calendar up to speed. And most people have a Gmail account or a Google account, and they use Google Calendar. So because of the adoption there's a lot more people that use Google Calendar than there are that use WordPress, and and then use Elementor. So like when you look at the cone, the cone is much wider for adoption of Google, and Google tooling like Calendar. So from that perspective, I like it a lot. Whether it's going to solve our problem, I don't know, but we won't know that until we actually put it in there. So I'm going to basically go over and I'm just going to hop into Google Calendar, and I'm going to say, hey, let's see here. Where are my settings at? My settings are probably, that's so weird. Okay, so it says top right. Oh, I bet it's right there. But it's the sprocket. That's good. It says settings. Let's go into settings. Settings and not event settings. I bet it's export, but I'm going to come back over here for my instructions because I'm dutiful. Click settings, and then set. On the left side, okay. Click the name of the calendar you want. So I'm going to go for Chris Courtney here. That's me. And make avail. Yep. It's fine. Make available to public. That's what it told me. And I'm going to pull this stuff out, so don't worry. You run with yours first to test, okay? So in the integrate this calendar section, so I'm looking for integrate this. Okay, so there's integrate calendar right there. And there's an embed code. There's a public URL as well. Which one do we need? Copy the iframe code displayed. So I'm going to copy this embed code right here. And then it's interesting. It says customize. So it's interesting. It's showing us different ways that we can go through and customize this. I know the background color for it's red. I'm not sure if that's what we want. I'll just make it white. I'm just going to try to make it as simple as possible. Okay, so let's see, border. Calendars to display. Okay. Yeah, this isn't like instilling a great deal of confidence, because I'm definitely going to want to like style this significantly differently. What if my width was 300? Not responsive at all. 800. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy this. I just want to see it in action. Okay, I don't want to punt on it yet, but I'm not holding out a lot of hope. Choose your options, then copy the HTML code displayed. Make sure inside Elementor, drag the HTML widget. So let's go over here and see what we can do with Elementor. So edit with Elementor, and Elementor takes forever to load. so slow. It's almost as slow as Webflow. Um, but Webflow is web-based. So there you are. Technically, this is web-based too. I mean, it is loading in a browser that is besieged by 50 tabs. So, all right. So here we go, and we've got this, and this is fine and dandy and good. I'm just going to at the bottom. Boy, lots of stuff. I'm going to add a new section. I'm going to make this completely wide. I'm going to grab the HTML. It says, drag HTML in here. I'm going to paste that in. And there is a pitifully ugly calendar. Can you target this? Can you update it? I mean, I'm going to hit update, and unfortunately my calendar is going to show up on the CrossFit site for a second. I'm going to delete it away though. Just go to the home page. Yeah, see, it loads all right. But hey, there's my calendar. Yay. So can we get it integrated? Well, yeah. Is it any good? No. So that's not helpful. But it is, it's not helpful, but it is helpful in that we have a better idea of what we're really up against. So I'm going to delete that away. It's not worth keeping. But can we get it integrated? Sure. It just doesn't look like anything. And it's an iframe, so I'm not completely certain how much I can go in and edit it. Like, that's all coming from somewhere else. So I'm not crazy about that. I did throw over another option yesterday into Discord, and I want to go take a peek. Okay, so this elf site calendar looks really promising. It is, in fact, a plugin. Mind you, I go to pricing. I go to pricing right away. It's free. Unlimited website, premium support, free installation, special offer for multiple apps, add to website. So if I said add to website, you have these options. It could be in a straight line. It could be something like this. There are a lot of different possible themes. I think you have to select a theme that you want, but this is an events calendar for Elementor. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going for grins. I'm going to try this upcoming event sidebar, because this is kind of like, hey, what are your upcoming classes? And I suspect that if we continued, let's see, okay, so content, layout, event types. That's a little odd. Venues, hosting, heading, message. Go to event button, link, none, style. Okay, so you can, looks like you can go through and adjust this if you wanted a background on it, which would be fine. You could have it transparent. I think you're going to want a background on it because you've got a black background. But it looks like you you can also add custom CSS to it. So this is pretty freaking sweet, to be honest with you. I'm gonna click join to install. I'm not gonna click join to install because ultimately it's gonna need your input. But I do believe that this has some merit, and it's also not going to elevate the cost, or it doesn't appear that it's going to elevate the cost. It's 1,000 to 5,000 installs, so it's, my question, the thing that gives me any pause is this is so nice, right? This is so nice. So it's free? Really? It says pricing here. Why does it say pricing? That I don't know. I don't know why it says pricing. Start with a free plan. There is no other plan. It tells me that at some point they're going to start adding things. Maybe this is relatively new. 14-day money-back guarantee. Money guarantee on free. So there are some questions. There are some questions around this. But that's the only thing about this that gives me any pause. Because the rest, it's pretty sick, to be honest with you. There's a lot here to like. And I just really like the fact that it's all just right here. Although I wish I could kind of like say I want a different one. Yeah. So anyway, I would look back at Elf site, enter your credentials, connect that up. But it looks pretty solid. So you also had another question, Rebecca, and it was related to you've got these long passages. And there was a couple of different ways you could go about doing this. The one that I found that seemed most appropriate is there is a read more element, a widget that you would add, but this requires you moving the content that's here, which by the way is really it's borderline on accessibility issues. And I could look at the style and tell you if let's see here. 686868. Yeah, that's like right on the edge of accessibility issues. I think that to really be safe, you need to do something like 9s. But I'll leave you to that. The big thing though is you can't have with read more. It wants to pull this content in from WordPress. So you would need to create a post in WordPress and then draw it in, and then you can come over here to the widgets, and all the way at the bottom there is a read more widget that you would drag in, and it says read more widgets affect themes that use the content in the archive pages. So you have some investigation to do there, but there is a read more method to do what you're wanting to do. Because I agree this is getting pretty long. Just know that when you utilize read more, it's going to make the page like longer. And the interesting thing is, at some point, do you have I would think structurally about this? Do you have a coach page where you've got this longer information? Because I don't necessarily want this to just expand, okay? Because even if I read it right now, like it's taken up the entire depth of my screen, right? So like I don't necessarily want this to just expand all the way down. The other question is, do you have other coaches? Because if you don't, this really is just an exercise in well, hey, maybe I get rid of this one instead. Maybe I just do that. Whoops. Maybe I just delete it, and now it's 2. And then when that expands down, I can actually see what's there, what's still here, rather than it going off the screen. So just something to think about. I'm going to close this up though, because I don't want it to save the deletion. But read more. There is a widget, and yeah, I would investigate that. But the first thing I would do is I'd jump on this calendar thing, and I'd probably use Elfsight. Shy of finding some sort of hidden, like, give us $100 thing, this looks like your best option to get something up and running inside of Elementor that you can actually style. The Google Calendar thing is, I love it, but it works, but you can't style it. So you can't style it outside of Google's, like, Crayola box styling. So that's where I'm at with it. Tedgel jumped in here really fast. Okay, so Tedgel has a question. She's in a ditch, and that happens, Tedgel. It totally happens. So I want to show you how to roll back a commit really fast. So I'm going to go into your portfolio, and I'm not sure if you push, but that's so let's first do a couple things. So I'm going to say get status to see if I've got any changes. I don't. You have changes though, okay? And I'm not sure. I'm going to say get pull origin master. So I just want to see if you've made any commits. You have made commits, which is good. I want to look at get log. Okay, and get log says that you've pushed at 9:49, changes in the top nav, or 10:49. You pushed last night. You pushed a couple times last night. And by the way, I love seeing the fact that you are pushing. You've got like 20 minutes between your commits or 30 minutes between your commits. That's great. I love seeing multiple commits during a session. I'm not sure if this is the broken version or not, so I'm going to just excuse me. Okay, so I'm gonna go live because I just want to see what's going on. And here we are, and you've kind of got a little bit of nav up there now, so you're taking advantage of that. Yeah, the Vimeo, I'm not sure what player that is. Anyway, it's dragging a bit. So there's that. I almost thought that was broken. I'm like, is that a broken link? No, it's not. There's that. Boy, these animations are so nice. All right, so we've got this. If I wanted to roll back, though, which is the core of your question, the first thing I want to do is if I want to check status, okay? So get status. I would not roll back if you have anything hanging out here. I would say get stash and stash away those changes, okay? You can get them back later. It's... if you could say get stash pop, and that would pop the stash back out, but you'll determine at some point whether you even want that or not. What we're trying to do right now is we're trying to roll back. So I'm going to type in get log again. If I want it to roll back to, say, what you did Saturday night, so merging Chris's changes, I'm going to grab this first bit right here, and I'm gonna quit. So this is really important actually. I hit Command K. That's really weird. My keystroke commands aren't showing up. I've got to figure out why that's occurring. That's LastPass. Yeah, it says it. Well, gosh, I paid for that plugin. I would like for it to work. But it's suddenly not up here. I will have to go investigate that. Anyway, so I'm going to say git log. Okay. I'm using my up and down arrows to navigate through. And now I'm going to, again, I'm going to get myself back to last Saturday. I'm going to copy the first 5 or 6 characters. I'm going to hit Q to clear out of the log. And now I'm going to say git checkout. And I'm just going to paste those characters in. What that's going to do is that's going to put me back at that moment in time. And as you can see, everything just updated. All right, the nav changed back to what you had it before, and that's how you roll it back in time to another setup or another commit. To get back, you just have to say git checkout master, and that gets you right back up to the front, and you'll see that this updates again back to the design that you just had. You said you just pushed, so I'm gonna get way it looks very different on my side. Git pull origin master, and again I'm recording this, so if you're missing some of the steps, we're recording this. Oh, that's weird because I just pulled and it says I'm already up to date. So okay, looks very different on your side. I'm interested for our call because I'm not seeing the breakage that you were describing. Specifically, cannot see any of the icons in the blue section. And I'm guessing that the blue section, the icons are these, but they are showing up. They're showing up for me, and you've pushed. So we're gonna have to investigate. It might be just a file issue. Maybe the organizational structure has moved around somehow. But if when you push to GitHub, it's a facsimile of what's on your machine. So I'm interested in sitting down with you and taking a closer look at that as well. But right now I'm not seeing an issue. I'm not seeing an issue with the site at the moment. Could it possibly be a responsive issue? Is there a responsive problem coming into play? No. Ooh, we got a little drop down. Look at you, fancy. All right. Timetable, we will take a much deeper dive into this in just a very short while. Rebecca, for you, it's diving into the Read More widget. It's looking at ElfSite. Kara, for you, it's fixing a very minor portion of the prototype. It's using preserve scroll as you work through the form so it doesn't bounce around. And golly gee, folks, I see so much progress happening. I'm super excited. I'm going to meet with Tedral here in a little bit. I will see Kara here just after that. And I'm going to go back and write a lot of color curriculum because color is so awesome. So with that, I will see you all again tomorrow. Take care.